Oh, such a mess. There we go. Cool. Right, let's get this going then. Eventually, we're back in business. Sorry for the small wait as usual, but we will be starting at 8 o'clock this evening. So apologies for the small wait there, but my PlayStation was having an absolute mare tonight. And literally just would not let me stream for whatever reason. Couldn't tell you why, but we're up and running now, and we're good to go. And with that, let me just sort out the usual YouTube shenanigans. Switch that on. We can get the final thumbnail up. Give that a quick save. As much as you want me to admit that, Sarah, I don't think I'm the one with the hangover after last night, not gonna lie. No, thanks for tuning in. Yo, hippie, how you doing? I'm actually feeling very sprightly now after today, which is very surprising after last night. Very sprightly indeed. So, YouTube shenanigans out the way. So, finally guys, welcome to the final round of the GR4 Season 4 Grand Finale, Round Suzuka. Hope you're all doing well this evening. I'm glad to see you're alive, hippie. That's a positive. Always a good thing. Oh, been a long time coming this. It seems like this particular season of this championship has gone on for so goddamn long. You know what it is actually? With that, I'm gonna have a quick check. When was the date that I originally posted the info? It was back on the 6th of March this year when I first posted the info for Season 4. And now it's the 5th of September. Literally 5 months and 30 days have passed since I initially put that info in for this season, and we're just coming to the end of it half a fucking year later. We're good like that, you know, honestly. So a long time coming, I think you can all agree. So, without further ado though, with that, points. So, made a bit of a boo-boo this week with the points. They aren't up on the Discord yet. Well, sorry. No, they're not up on the Discord. They are done, but I realised last night when I was out that when I tried to post them on Tuesday of this week, they hadn't actually uploaded properly, and I didn't realise until last night, and I've been pretty much out doing stuff the entirety of today, so I'm very sorry for the points, especially with it being the final round, but they are done, and I'm going to read them out now, because a lot of them are very interesting. So, here is the points as they currently stand. So, with a great result from Rob last time out as well, this is the individual championship rankings going into this final round before Suzuka. So I'm just going to go through the entire grid here. So we have Sean on 37 points, who I don't think is in this race today. We have Paul Swales, who's managed to make an excellent comeback and has done very well. That's not right. And has got himself over 100 points now, so excellent job, Paul. Actually, no. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. We've got to have Julian after a good scoring round last weekend. We have 131 points for Julian. We also have Nick. Sorry, we actually have Creasy and Mike, aka Rocketman, who are actually very close in points. So Creasy is on 134 points. Mike was on 136, so it's going to be all to play for between them three tonight. Nick is the next one ahead of them at 150 points, so he's actually managed to jump quite a few positions, and he's actually in 6th place overall in the individual rankings, so it's a good job from Nick, but that could all change tonight. It's still very close between these guys. And then there's a bit of a point jump between the rest of the field, so the next person up after that is Wrighton, with 211 points so far. Gad is in 4th place in the championship with 236, and there's a massive jump yet again to Hippie, who has 309 points. And this is the interesting one at the top. Might seem like a lot, but there is 19 points separating Jason and Rob in the individual championship. So it's still all to play for tonight, still very close. And no doubt these drivers will be doing everything to try and stop these guys from walking away with it here today. But it's going to be all to play for again. Suzuka, very technical track, very easy to make mistakes. So it might be the more consistent driver that actually comes out on top today in this. So Rob is currently sitting in 2nd place with 362 points. And Jason is currently on top at the moment with 381. But for the last, I would say, 2 or 3 weeks, Rob has been reeling him back in every single week. So it's going to be very interesting. Evening, Rob. Hope you're doing well, buddy. And now for the constructors' points as well. So, interesting in these points as well, because again, could all change this weekend. Still massive amount of points on offer. But here's the standings at the moment, if I can talk. So we have the Orange Bullets in 6th place, aka Creasy's team. They are currently sitting on 175 points. So bearing in mind, Creasy, these guys haven't had drivers a lot of these weekends, so bear that in mind. We have Off-Track Overtakers with 247 points in total. Then big gap to 4th place, and this is the interesting one. So we have Julian has 0 cool, aka Julian, aka Jason, both in the sit-runs as you can see on the screen. They currently sit on 462 points. I think on a very good weekend last week. And there's a slight gap to Rob and Co, who currently sit on 489 points. So a bit of a gap between them guys, 27 points, but again, that's considering as well that Rob has the individual constructors ranking as well, so he has the extra half scoring bonus on his because he's the own driver for his team. So if he doesn't have a good race this weekend, then it could all change in the constructors, because it works in 2 ways. Because if he has a really good weekend, he has more likely to get many points. But if he has a bad weekend, it means he has a lot less points than the rest of the drivers. So it works both ways. So that's why it's quite interesting. So Rob will be looking to maximise on that today. Then we have Team Catastrophic, who are just in front of Rob at the moment with 493 points. So there's only 4 points separating 2nd and 3rd place coming into this final round of the championship. So even after all 7 races, 14 different races, there's only 4 points separating 2nd and 3rd in the constructors at the moment. And then the people that are on top at the moment, who are the ones that are always high with 541 points. So they almost have a 50-point gap to the guys in second place. So it's going to take a monumental effort from the rest of these guys to displace both Hippie and Gad off of the top space of the constructors at the moment. So that's really what we're going to be looking out for here. So the battle is really on for second place in the constructors, depending on what happens here today. Then we also have a battle for first place in the drivers, of course, between Jason and Rob, as they're the only two people who have mathematically enough points to secure this at the moment. And then we have a big battle for second place and third place in the individuals as well. So it's going to be all to play for here today. So still a lot can change. Yes, Paul, I'm sorry to say, but your teammate will more than likely be hungover. Well, you say that though, Paul, because although there's a sprint race and stuff coming up, it doesn't, because if Rob has one, bad result in either of the races, he's going to be in a massive disadvantage. So don't count yourself out yet, because if Rob just has a bad race in one of them, he does put himself in a serious disadvantage, because it's only double points for the overall scores, so it's not everything. So it's still all to play for. And we will be starting soon, so I'll put a chat in here saying starting soon. Starting at 8 o'clock tonight, thanks to the technical issues. So yes, should be a good show tonight. All to play for in these final races. And we have the man who will be chasing down the championship leader at the moment and wanting to get as good a time as possible in quali to try and stay in front of his main rival. Let's have a quick look through some of these liveries, see if there's any difference. Creasy out there in the Chevy. Lovely looking thing, that. And we have the Red Bull Stang here as well. Ooh, as we have one of them going wide, very wide at the first corner. That's right and going wide. Clearly the Jaegers are still wandering around in his brain as he's trying to make some sandcastles here at this early stage of the weekend. We have Julian going around in the other Citroen, the legend himself. Dark horse in this one, I think. Suzuka not too fond for many of these drivers, so could be a dark horse in these races here today. So be sure to look out for that one. Hippie, as always, in the big pink Jag, looking to secure his points for his team, as he is almost in a bit of a no man's land in the individual constructors points. I believe he is at least secured third, so unless Rob or Jason has a massive issue here today, don't think he would be catching them. But apart from that, that should be okay with him. So he's going to start the qualifying in about a minute here. Gad parked up the side of the road as usual in the big green Jag, and then we also have Jason minding his time in the pits there. Let's have a quick look to see if everybody is readied up at this stage. Looks like they are. So we'll say good luck, and let's finally start the final round of qualifying for this weekend of the GR4 Season 4 Championship, as we have a Mustang driving backwards. That's going to be right, isn't it? Anyway, let's go, let's get it done. Let's start the final round of qualifying. Evening Aston Lewis as well, thanks for joining us tonight for this final round. Should be a lot of great racing tonight here at Suzuka. And as a lovely building Oh, there it is. BMW's popped out of it. Rob very early out the gates, getting a massive jump on the rest of the guys here. Massive sweeping camera here for some reason. So let's have a quick look. So Rob easily out of the pits first there. We have a bit of a group here at the moment. And I will be trying my best to do these points live, by the way, as these races happen for you all. I've got my laptop moving here, so at the end of the first feature race I will be quickly jotting down all of the points and making sure that all of them have the bases covered. So let's have a quick rundown of the field. So we have Rob out first on the medium tyres. He's looking to get round this circuit as quickly as possible and onto them soft compounds. Wrighton managing to get a jump in out of the pits as well. You can see how much tyre wear is on that Mustang already though. Just slightly behind also on the mediums. Jason actually going for the soft compounded tyres here. So a bit of an alternative strategy for him. Maybe wanting to try and streak away at the start, because the soft tyres really do have an advantage over the long twisty track of Suzuka. So it could be a very interesting strategic move by these guys here today. So we have Paul once again on the mediums as well. Ooh. Creasy also on the mediums. Nick on the softs compounded tyres. Gad also on the softs. Julian on the mediums and Hippie on the mediums too. So it looks like we have 3 soft compound runners here at this qualifying, the rest all on mediums. So it'll be very interesting to see what these guys do at the moment. So it looks to see a few guys driving into the pits there to change their tyres as Jason goes around to start his first flying lap on the soft tyres. And you can see that has already been 2.5 minutes gone of this qualifying session. So these drivers really do have to be careful and maximise their time out on track in order to make sure that them laps are counted. So Jason, Nick and Gad all starting their first flying laps here, thundering around the first section here through the S's. Let's have a quick onboard on the Jag. Very smooth from Gad here, going through the first S's, nailing the apexes, showing us how it's all done here. Very clean, very tidy from Gad. Ooh, maybe just going a little bit too wide there, coming out of that, but manages to keep it on exit. Slight lift, just manages to keep it together, going through the S's. Good stuff from Gad so far. They're set an early banker lap here. Let's have a quick flip to Jason in the sit run up front. Coming into the hairpin. Oh, he actually gets it a bit wrong there and actually gets it a bit late on the brakes there. Not what he would have wanted on this first flying lap, but you can see how much tyre wear has already been generated on the softs, even after only having 1 out lap and 1 fastest flying lap there. Really bad tyre wear at Suzuka, and it's really going to have an impact onto the rest of the driver strategies here, as it might actually be quicker to potentially go for a 2-stop here, depending on how bad the tyre wear is. But all to see, all to play for here. It'll be interesting to see which strategies all the drivers adopt here this weekend. So you see the sit run coming down the back straight here. Coming down to Tori's 130R. Ooh, bit of a lift there from Jason, just playing it safe on his first flying lap. Hard on the brakes, into the chicane. Does he manage to nail the apex? Yes, he does. Bouncing over the curbs there, getting a lovely exit. Keeping it as tight as possible. Coming up to the front of the line. And the banker time for Jason is a 2:11 dead for Jason. And that is the first time to beat. As we have Nick coming across the line here as well with a 2:11.8. Great lap from Nick at this early stage, and it looks like Gad might have actually pulled into the pits there. Yes, he's now actually on another outlap, so he's actually gone in for, on his outlap, he's gone for another set of soft tyres, so he's just burning a bit more fuel here. Crucially, he's actually looks like he's put more fuel in the car, surprisingly, so I wonder if he's just bailed on that lap. and decided to get back in, get a fresh set of soft tyres there, and get round for another lap. So we see the rest of the guys now coming around. So only 2 drivers setting times here so far. So see Rob coming through the S's now, quickly followed by one of the Mustangs in the background there. It looks like it's Wrighton just in the background. Maybe trying to use a bit of a slipstream from Rob, but I don't think he's quite close enough yet. Hey douchebag, welcome to the stream, Sean. Excellent apex there from Rob coming around at the tight corner there. Ooh, 2.3 seconds ahead for Rob there. So you can see how much of a mistake Jason actually made on that first flying laps here. None of the guys really too settling into this moment in Suzuka, as we now come up to the halfway point of this qualifying session, and half the field hasn't even set a lap yet. So these guys might actually only get 1 or 2 more laps after this first flying lap. Ooh, but Rob going a bit wide there onto the AstroTurf. Can he save it? Massive slide there. Really pushing it now. And a lot of these guys really just trying to overdrive the cars at this stage and not getting used to the tyre wear. Really interesting from all these drivers, as there's not been one truly clean lap so far. See once again, but Jason actually coming round for another flying lap there, getting across the line with a 2:08. Much better lap from Jason, 3 seconds ahead of Nick. So both them drivers having errors on their lap as well. Nick improving to a 2:11.2 as well. So you see Rob and Wrighton follow him in the background there. Rob taking a very tight line with the run up to the line. What is his first time going to be? It is 2:09.0, and Wrighton comes across the line with a 2:09.5 as well. Very competitive times from there. But Creasy comes across the line with another 2:09, and Paul coming across the line with a 2:09.1. Very close between these 3 drivers, as it looks to only be about a 1/10.5 separating 2nd to 4th place. So really good job by all of these guys here to set very competitive times, but it's Jason who leads the pack at the moment. But saying that, Hippie comes across the line with a 2nd driver to go into the 2:08. Very great lap by Hippie there. And he might be on a bit of a hot streak now. Only 3/10 off of Jason in front. Excellent first lap from Hippie there, slotting himself into 2nd place. And he really has done well in the qualifying laps the last few weeks, Hippie has. As he finished on the front row again last week as well. Was it the front row? Yes, it was. Hang on. No, it was in Austria, sorry. Around Red Bull Ring, he was on the front row. So both of the Jags going across the line. Gad coming across with his first line with a 2:10. So maybe a small mistake on his lap as well, coming across the line. And he will most likely want to improve that within the last couple of laps as well. Another slide by Rob there. BMW looking very tail happy at this stage of the qualifying. Excuse me. Looks like Rob might be improving his time here yet again as he comes across slightly quicker on this lap, but Jason also improves his lap yet again with a 2:08, and he pulls into the pits. That looks like his laps might be done. So crucially, is Rob going to take it? Oh no, he's going to come around the corner. He's going to risk it. A 2:08.3, just narrowly missing out on the lap from Jason there as well. Gutting for Rob, as he's only 1/100th of a second behind his championship rival at the moment. But still 2 excellent competitive times here. And it looks like Hippie might be coming into the pits here for one more final run. Hopefully he has time to get round the track once more and get himself one more flying lap in. Let's have a look at some of these other drivers here. So we have Creasy pulling out the pits now. It also looks like we have Wrighton coming out the pits as well. Wrighton, Paul and Creasy all on fresh tyres here. So this is actually going to be very interesting. So we have a bunch of drivers who looks like they will get another lap in right at the end of qualifying. Unfortunately, it looks like Hippie won't have enough time to get around the lap, but we'll have to wait and see if he just manages to claw back any time here on this outlap. But he is going to have to hammer it around here. Gard managing to improve his time, but unfortunately not managing to pip out and gain any more time on his rivals there, with a 2:10 time yet again, and he finds himself back down the order in 8th place. So not what he would have wanted to start this weekend, but again, Gard is all about the race strategy here, and it'll be interesting to see what he can pull out of this race in terms of strategy. So it looks like half the field now has decided to put their qualifying laps to bed, are now sitting in the pits, and it's now all resting on what looks to be 5 drivers here, soon to become 4 though, as Rob takes the narrowest line as possible. Doesn't look like he's going to be quicker, and it's not. It's a 2:09 point Rob, but he thought he may as well try and get one more lap and just get as much practice in as possible in this, as he looks like he's going around again, just testing how long them tyres can go. Ooh, as he slides off at the first corner there, the grip just giving way. As the next 3 drivers now coming around the final corner. Creasy coming across the line now. Paul and Wrighton. Paul behind him and Wrighton just in front. These 3 drivers all wanting to try and improve their laps now. Will they manage to keep it clean around the first couple of corners there? Ooh, a bit of a 4-wheel drift there from Wrighton coming around the first corner, but managed to keep it together. Creasy also coming around the first corner as well. All 3 of these guys managing to keep it together now, and it doesn't look like Hippie is going to have enough time coming across the line. And yes, unfortunately, Hippie just not having quite enough time, an extra 10 seconds, and he would have gotten around there. So he is preliminary in 3rd position now, just missing out on that last lap there. Really unfortunate for Hippie, but still an incredible time there, and he will at least, at a minimum, get 6th, but as a positive, potentially get 3rd place, depending on how these guys improve their laps here. Oh, as you can see, Creasy just getting a bit tail happy, just coming through the fast right hand there. Coming in the next sector, he's actually down on his time at the moment, so not what Creasy would have wanted this lap. Let's have a quick look at the 2 Mustang drivers. Looks like Paul coming into the chicane, into the hairpin, sorry. Lovely line coming through the hairpin there for Paul. Now just flexing all the power of the Mustang down the straight. Let's have a quick check in with his teammate as well. Nice and clean coming. Ooh, look, just gets a bit too ambitious there on the apex, just clipping the grass on the inside. That will compromise in a bit of time. Let's have a look where Wright and his coming down this back straight, using all of the track available there. Coming up to the first sector, he's a bit of a mistake there from Wrighton, as he's now down on his time. Creasy coming across there, not quite managing to get him, but it looks like Paul is down on his time as well. All these guys maybe just overdriving a little bit as Wrighton comes around the final chicane. Will this be enough to put him ahead out of any positions here? And it doesn't look like he's able to. Creasy comes across the line now, not managing to improve as well, and Paul coming across the line, also not managing to improve here. Unfortunately, none 3 of them drivers able to improve on a fresh set of soft tyres, and maybe just overdriving their cars a little, just trying to find any pace possible on their laps. But it's just not enough at this point, and I believe that is qualifying finished. All laps have been set, so this is the grid for the final feature race in this championship. Jason coming out on top here for this round, managing to just pip his championship rival with a 2:08.3, as Jason puts one of the Mustangs in the wall there and starts a bit of a fight here. Oh, it's a bit of a sumo wrestling match here. Calm it down, you two. Ooh. So we have Rob coming in 2nd place. Great time from him, but not quite managing to pip his rival there. Very close between the top two as well. Hippie with a great qualifying time, managing to come in third place there, so it'll be interesting to see how he can handle this track, as he looks very strong compared to a few of the other drivers here today. Creasy in fourth, the two Mustangs locking out the third row, Paul just in front of Wrighton there, Julian in seventh, Gard in eighth, and Nick in ninth place. So here we go now. The lights are on for the final feature race to start the final round of the Gr4 Championship. Here the engine's revving and off they go. Good start for Jason across the line in the sit run once again. Looks like Hippies now has actually managed to get an excellent start and might be passing Rob into the first corner there. Hippie tries to go on the outside, trying to get as much grip as possible. Oh, Rob just goes a bit wide, a little bit of contact between the two there. Oh, and the BMW looks very, very tail happy on them cold tyres there. Rob just managing to keep his position in front of Hippie there, with Creasy just looking to pick up any scraps behind. Wright managing to get a better start than his teammate there, and managing to put himself up into fifth place. Gard also managing to jump Julian on the line, and Nick also managing to jump Julian on the line as well, putting them up into 7th and 8th place respectively. But look at the soft tyre advantage that Jason has now. He's managed to get a good start on them soft tyres, and he is away with already over a second gap to all of his rivals behind, doing exactly what he needs to do now to secure his championship. And all these guys on the medium tyres now furiously battling for position. Rob in second place on the mediums, Hippie in third on the mediums, Creasy in fourth on the mediums, Wrighton in fifth, and Paul in sixth. All these guys all on medium set of tyres now. Every single other driver is on the medium set of tyres apart from Jason at the front of the field, and it is showing the tyre advantage that Jason has right now. He actually gets a little bit wide coming out of the last couple of corners there, manages to recover it there. Crucially, all these drivers in a bit of a slipstream train here. And a very clean first lap from all these guys. Let's have a look coming into the chicane. Good lines by all of them here. Any incidents to report? No, not really. But Gard and Paul going at it. Oh, looks like Paul just gets a bit wide coming out of the chicane there. Paul not really fancying too much in the Mustang, really not getting grips with them cold tyres at the moment. And Gard slots himself up into 6th place. But Paul has the slipstream coming down the pit straight. Will he be able to challenge him coming into the next section? No, he won't. Braking hard into the next bit, feather it round. Try and clip the apex on the run out of the corner. They managed to do that, and Gard holds his position in 6th place. So a quick look back up to the front as a constant gap between Rob, Hippie and Creasy remains. Rob actually managed to get a bit of a gap here, and the extra grip of the BMW showing its superiority through the S's here compared to the Jag, as Rob now breaks out a second lead to Hippie in front of him, but Creasy crucially losing out to Hippie as well at this stage, coming through the S's. And then we've got a bit of a gap to Wrighton, who is in 5th place in the Mustang, and Gard is quickly gaining on him as well. So at this early stage of the race, it looks like the Jag may be the slightly better all-around car, but saying that, he goes a bit wide coming out of the tight right-hander there. And Paul is right on the back of him now, and crucially he's not in slipstream range, so he can defend from these two Mustangs here. The Mustang, one of the only cars which is quicker than the Jag in a straight line, especially with slipstream, but it looks like Paul's just playing a bit safe from here, just trying to get as close as possible and use the dirty air that is generated by the Jag there. Oh, but Gard does go a bit wide onto the AstroTurf, tries to cover himself off there, and a little bit of contact between 3 of the drivers there. So it looks like Nick tried to maybe make a move on the inside of Paul there, but not quite managing to make it stick. All 4 of these drivers very close, nose to tail, coming into 130R. Down with the brakes from Gard on the run through, just to play it safe. And it looks like Nick behind has managed to get a bit of a run on Paul coming into the chicane. Nick trying to go around the outside there. Paul has the better run. Oh, bit of contact there between the two. Paul just gets a bit onto the grass there. Very, very close racing between these guys, as it looks like Julian might be able to pick up some of the scraps here. Nick getting a bit of a nudge by Julian down the main straight as well. Coming into the first corner, Nick tries to go around the outside. Bit of contact between the Mustang and the McLaren there, but Nick just manages to keep his position there and to slide himself up into 7th place. Unfortunately, Paul not faring well at this track at all in these early stages of the race, and now finds himself back down in 8th place. So let's have a quick look back to the battle for 3rd place. Creasy now right on the back of Hippie there. Ooh, maybe a bit of contact there just coming out of the S's, and Creasy slots through. And maybe a bit of contact there. Let's have a quick look. It's a quick replay on that move from Creasy. So you can see he is right on the back of the pink Jag there. No, Hippie just gets a bit of understeer coming through the corner there. So good job from Creasy to secure his position there and put himself up into 3rd place, and he's managed to maintain that place right through the next sector there, as Wrighton also has managed to gain a bit of ground. And look at the battle now in the background as well. The battle continuing. Gad and Nick pull alongside each other there. Paul in the background. This is where the battle is at the moment. Paul just managing to squeeze up the inside of Gad and take back his position into 7th place there. Paul maybe going for a lunge on Nick now. No, just too far back at this point in time. Nick using all the track available to him to trying to just get a bit more of a gap to the guys behind him, but he will be very vulnerable to the 3 powerful cars in the slipstream now, and you can see the amount of time all 3 of them are gaining on Nick coming down this back straight. Paul right on the back of Nick now, coming through 130. Oh no, Paul does go a bit wide there, gone into the AstroTurf. He just managed to keep it together, but he will have dirty tyres coming into the chicane. Defends to the inside, does not want to let that Jag back past. And a bit of a slide there from Paul coming out the chicane. As the gaps in front look to have steadied a bit. Creasy still maintaining his gap to Hippie now. Both of these guys on the same strategy here, but crucially, let's have a quick look at the fuel. Oh, so it looks like Rob's made a mistake. Rob's made a mistake. Coming out of the first couple of corners now. Disaster for Rob there, as he's now fallen back into 5th place. Did he just get a bit on the AstroTurf? He did. He just went a bit wide on the AstroTurf and just managed to keep it together. Massive slide from Rob. Great car control just to keep it together there. Disaster for Rob at this stage, who had such a great gap. Just maybe pushing his car a bit too hard there, and now finds himself behind the Mustang here, although he is going to challenge Wrighton coming into the next sector here. Rob goes to the inside. Wrighton looks to just yield the place to Rob there, and Rob finds himself back up into 4th place. But disaster for Rob there. Really needed to try and maintain that 2nd position there, but the unfortunate rear wheel slippiness from the BMW showing its ugly head, and Rob is now back in the pack and throws the championship wide open here. So you can see the battle behind still insinuating here, so it looks like Nick's actually maybe got a bit of a mistake there coming out of the hairpin. On the run into the 2 trickiest corners on the track. Very close between these two. Looks like the McLaren just has the more mechanical grip at this stage of the race, while the Mustang has the brute force down the straight. But crucially, the tyres look very even between these two. Gad and Julian just falling a bit off the back of these two during the battle. The Jag driver not faring too well at this early stage of the race, and really would like to be up ahead challenging the other guys here, but just not managing to find the pace here on these medium sets of tyres. And crucially, will he be one of the first to jump and go into the pits at this stage? Oh, it looks like Paul's actually gone a bit wide there, and he actually managed to go into the pits there. Let's have a quick look to see if there's a battle with Nick. Coming into the chicane there, no, he just overextends on the brakes and has to go straight through and hits the sand on the exit, and then pulls into the pits there. And it's our first drive at the pit, and he's just trying to get off the medium tyres as soon as possible. Disaster for Paul here again, but again, just a few of these drivers just showing a bit of signs of fatigue here. as a lot of mistakes just creeping up now, with Creasy now inheriting second place, Hippie now in third, but look at Rob catching back up. He's a man on the mission after that mistake, as Rob now really wants to put the pressure on these two here and get back past these guys as quickly as possible. Nah, it's unlucky Paul. It's got a bit too hot into that chicane there, missed the downshift and he just went flying on. We've all been there. As the battle for second place still ensues, as it looks like Hippie just takes a bit of an outside line and lets Rob back through. Massive tail slide there, massive drift to Rob, and you can see how little grip them rear tyres have. And both these guys just losing a bit of time to Creasy in front here. These guys won't want to slow each other up too much, but it looks like Hippie just manages to let Rob back through. And maybe Hippie just wanted to use Rob at this stage of the race. Rob showing his appreciation there, and Hippie will want to try and stick to him like glue to save a bit of fuel and catch back up to Creasy now. It's a good race for both Hippie and Creasy so far. Ooh, almost getting a little bit too far on the AstroTurf there. Hippie just managing to keep it together though. On the run out the final chicane there. Hippie just losing the slipstream out to the more grippy BMW. And you can see Rob now hunting down Creasy, who was in front. Wrighton just dropped off a little off the pace now. And looks like Gard's actually pulled into the pits there, as Julian looks like have overtaken him as well. So I wonder if there's a bit of a mistake there from Gard. And he now jumps into the pits. And crucially, he might actually be in last place there, so he must have made a mistake, as now Paul goes straight on through. With almost half a race left, these guys will have to really manage their tyres effectively to make sure their grip lasts over the course of the entire race now. Because they have pitted very early at this stage, and them soft tyres, especially on that Mustang, will be very, very badly worn by the end of this race. But if you can get the undercut, it might be worth it for Paul and Gard. Gard 11 seconds behind Paul, who he was battling before coming into the pits there. So a massive mistake from Gard. Unfortunately finds himself back down the field even further. But let's have a quick look back up front now, as you can see Rob now really putting the pressure on Creasy, and he's managed to catch back up in under half a lap here, so great job from Rob to recover this position here. But crucially, 11 seconds is the gap between Jason and Creasy in second place now, and this battle will only extend that lead. So it looks like the alternative strategy of going onto the soft compound of tyres really worked out beneficially for Jason now, as Creasy and Rob side by side going down one of the back straights here, coming up to 130R. Creasy just possibly yielding his position there, just a bit of a dab off the throttle coming down the main straight there. Rob inherits second place back. Creasy not wanting to slow up these guys at all and not wanting to lose any time to Hippie behind him. Ooh, looks like Rob just gets a bit too deep coming into the chicane there, and it looks like both these guys losing out there. But Creasy dives into the pits now. Very interesting from the Chevy driver, and he is the next to jump out of this group of cars here. This, again, it'll be interesting to see if this is actually going to be too early for some of these drivers here. But it's going to be very interesting to see. But you can see how worn the medium tyres for Creasy are, and it's only just past half a race for Creasy, so them front tyres are going to be absolutely destroyed once he puts the softs on. And there goes Creasy. Where will he be in comparison to Paul? And Paul comes out ahead, so the undercut really working to the advantage of Paul here. But crucially, Creasy has a couple extra laps worth of them soft compounded tyres on, and Gard looks to have jumped Nick in the pits as well. But again, Nick will have an extra lap fresher of tyres. Will that make the difference in the end, as Gard is now 3 seconds ahead of Nick, and Paul is now 2 seconds ahead of Creasy? But look at how Creasy is just managing to draw back that time through the S's here. It's going to be a very interesting battle come the end of the race. to have a quick look back in front to see the gaps between second, third and fourth place. Rob just managing to eke out a little more time to Hippie behind him, but crucially it's not a lot of time compared to what it was before, around the 2-second mark between these guys, and Wrighton just a little further back, just under 3 seconds off of his podium position at the moment. Even in Heppo. Yes, I was going to say, if you were in the Citroen, yes, I'm pretty sure you've already completed the race, done a Kimi Räikkönen and went off to his yacht in one of the Japanese harbours there, and he's already sipping on a whiskey or something like that. I don't know. Crucially, will any of these guys be the next ones to jump into the pits here? Will Rob be the next one to jump into the pits? No, he looks like he goes on for an extra lap. Hippie now also going on for an extra lap. Will Wrighton take the dive? Yes, he will. He is the next one to go onto the soft compound of tyres. But look at how much fuel Wrighton is used compared to both Rob and Hippie here. But crucially, look at how much fuel Hippie has managed to save here. Same with Julian. Julian is going to be in a great position here as he comes out the pits. And where are the other guys? Is Paul and Creasy already coming down the pit straight here? Creasy actually managing to gain a little bit more time on Paul in front. Only 1.5 seconds separates them now, so good job from him, as it looks like Gad and Nick are both coming down the main straight. Nick actually managing to gain a lot of time on Gad there, as Wrighton now pulls out the pits. Will there be a challenge into T1 now? No, it looks like Wrighton has just managed to get ahead and stay ahead of Gad. That is crucial to his race. So we now find Julian, who's just pitted on that lap as well, 3.8 seconds behind Nick now, but crucially he has a lot fresher tyres compared to these guys, so he will be gaining rapidly in this last stage of the race here. You can now see Creasy still with that extra couple of laps fresher tyres compared to Paul here. You can see how much time he's actually managing to gain on the Mustang driver here. You can even tell in the hairpin there. And has he just managed to close up enough into the slipstream? He is just out of it at the moment, and it doesn't look like that Chevy has just enough grunt to catch that Mustang in a straight line without slipstream. And crucially, will these guys want to jump into the pits now? This might be the optimal time to do it, just to cover off the undercut. Will these guys think of pitting? In goes Rob. And in goes Hippie. Both of these guys going onto the softer compound of tyres. This is where it is going to matter here. Paul and Creasy both coming around 130R. Creasy actually going a bit wide there, taking a bit too much speed. Big gap separating these guys at the moment, but where will they come out? Oh, Paul sticks it in the wall! Disaster for Paul there. He wanted to try and go on to another set of soft compound of tyres after he still needs to fuel as well, and he ends up hitting the wall, and that is advantage gone for him. And crucially, where does Creasy come out? Creasy comes out well ahead of both Hippie and Rob here. But Hippie and Rob both have 2 extra laps fresher tyres at this point. And they will really want to try and gain time on here as Hippie. And look at the fuel advantage that he's managed to save now as well, because Hippie came out ahead of Rob. So that's about a 3-second time change there by managing to save that fuel. So great job for Hippie now. If he can maintain that through the rest of the race, he's going to have a real fight on his hands to try and take another podium spot here. But crucially, he needs to maintain the pace and keep up the pace to catch Creasy in front, which he is doing. The time now under 3 seconds to the second place driver in the orange Chevrolet, and these two are on a charge to try and catch that Chevy. It's going to be very interesting to see how close they can get in this time, as it looks like Gad and Nick going at it once again in this championship. And look at the front tyres on Gad now, almost destroyed, as our leader finally pits in, offer them a set of soft compounded tyres, and has now got a 40-second gap to the rest of the field here. And he will be going on to the medium set of tyres, and I don't think there's going to be too much people can do about this, as his car is just about to pull into the pits and change his tyres. Where is the rest of the field? Oh, Creasy goes wide out of 130R again. He does not want to keep doing that. There's a lot of time is lost there, and crucially gets his tyres dirty for the chicane. And you can see how much time he's lost coming through the chicane there, as the time almost just goes under to 2 seconds now. Massive battle for the podium's positions here, as Hippie and Rob both catch up exponentially in the latter stage of this, with 4 and a half, or just over 4.5 minutes remaining. There might be 3 more laps of this race, and crucially that is 1 more lap than Creasy would like at this point of the race, as Rob actually manages to overtake Hippie coming into the first corner. Let's see if we can have a bit of a replay on that one. So it looks like Rob just using the slipstream of the Jag there. And does he pull it to the inside? Yes, he pulls onto the inside, clean as you like, goes straight on through, and Rob inherits 3rd place, so he can now chase and catch Creasy, as Creasy is now under a second. Great recovery drive by Rob, really flexing his muscles here on these set of fresher, softer tyres. And finally the grip of that BMW finally springs into life, and you can see how much more grip and speed he has around these corners compared to the orange Chevrolet now, braking hard into the hairpin. And he gets an excellent run, and he's now right on the back of Creasy here, coming down one of many back straights at Suzuka. Will he try and think of sending a move now, coming into the big double left-hander? No, he's just a bit too far back at this stage, applying a lot of pressure onto that Chevrolet driver of Creasy. Rob looks to maybe just have a little bit of a nibble on the inside there, but he's not quite close enough. But crucially, he is right on the back bumper of Creasy now, coming down the back straight, coming into 130R once again. You can see how much grip that Mustang. And oh, Rob goes to the inside there. Will he try and make a move coming into the chicane? Sliding it round into the entrance of the chicane there. Rob makes it stick. A great move from Rob there, and that has allowed Hippie to catch up to the back as well. But will Creasy try and make a move coming into T1 just to try and secure that position now? Rob covering up off his lines. Creasy not quite close enough to challenge Rob, and now Hippie is now right on the back of the Chevrolet driver as well. There will be 2 more laps on this race, and you can already see how worn them front tyres are of Creasy's. It looks like it's only might be a matter of time before Hippie gets past at this stage, and you can see Hippie setting up a move now, coming around the S's, and look at how much more grip the Jag has coming around the S's now. Hippie on the inside. Will he have enough time to get him on the outside before coming to that? Creasy yields his position, and Hippie slots through into 3rd place. Great battle from these 2 drivers, and Hippie will want to try and extend that advantage as much as possible, as Creasy just goes slightly wide onto the AstroTurf, coming out of the 90-degree right-hander, coming through the hairpin now. And is Creasy managing to stay with these guys? No, and look at the grip difference between both Rob, Hippie and Creasy now. No comparison between the 2. And it looks like Rob and Hippie have now well and truly put the gap between Creasy, but still a good result here for Creasy if he can manage to maintain this gap there, as it looks like Gad's actually managed to fall down the field there. And look at this battle still raining on between these guys now. Nick in 6th place, Julian in 7th, and Gad in 8th now, battling hard into the hairpin. Julian actually goes a bit wide, but looks like he actually managed to get a lot more traction coming out of the hairpin there, so great driving between these guys. And it looks like Nick has now actually made a mistake there. We have to have a quick look at what's happened there as well. So it looks like Nick might have actually made a mistake coming into the next section here. Let's have a quick look. Did he get wide on the AstroTurf? Yes, he did. He just misses the braking point there. And as they come into 130R, Nick now finds himself in 8th place and crucially behind both Julian and Gad here. Good run out of the final couple of corners there for Nick onto the back straight. Will he manage to take Gad in this last stage? And they will get one more lap coming across the line for the second to last time. Nick pulling to the inside of Gad now. Will it be enough? Gad is in the slipstream of Julian. And Gad just manages to hold position. A little bit of contact there from Nick, just forcing Gad a bit wide there, but Nick yields the position. Good driving there and good sportsmanship from Nick, just showing the respect there from these two drivers, as Paul is the first one to come across the line. Very unfortunate for him and not quite managing to find the pace in the Mustang here today, and will be looking to improve in the sprint race here. As Gad using all the track there, just compromising his line a bit, getting a bit onto the sand there, and Nick now has a great opportunity now to try and catch him into this next series of corners. Looks like Julian has managed to just create a bit more of a gap here, and has managed to break away from these two, but will it be for very long now? As he just makes a small mistake coming out of that 90-degree right-hander. Will these two have slipstream coming down the straight? Oh, Gad just goes a bit wide there, just misinterpreting the brakes there, as Nick gets a great run out of the hairpin, and Julian has now pulled almost a second gap to the Jag driver behind. It's going to be very tight coming across these last few corners here. Let's have a quick check back in with the front drivers to see if there's any gaps further changed. No, pretty spaced out between all 5 of these guys in the top 5. So let's have a quick look back at the battle here. Oh, it looks like Gad spun! Gad spun on the AstroTurf. Disaster for Gad here. And let's have a quick look to see what's happened here. Oh, so it looks like Nick has actually made contact with Gad at the back there. And due to the worn tyres of that McLaren, is just taking him out completely. Disaster for these two drivers here. But it looks like Nick has yielded the position there. As it looks like Nick might have actually, as he ran out of fuel, and it looks like Nick might just be coasting now as he looks to have managed to, and just because of that we've now missed the drivers coming across the line. Jason with a great win, 11 seconds ahead of Rob in the end after that earlier mistake in the race. Hippie in 3rd place with a great podium position again. Creasy not managing to make his tyres hold on here at the end. A good result for Wrighton here, improving his feature race now and managing to finish in the middle of the pack in 5th place. Julian, a great drive for him in 6th place, just managing to avoid the carnage there in the latter part of the lap, and Gad and Nick finishing in 7th and 8th respectively. Good win for Jason yet again, and that definitely secures his championship position at the moment. Don't think there will be anything Rob will be able to do to try and catch him now. So a great drive from Jason, managing to make his strategy work, managing to extend his soft tyres as long as possible there. Yep, GG Rob. And GG Paul as well. Unfortunately, didn't quite managing to make it work this time around, Paul. But no doubt you'll be able to make that up in the sprint race. And speaking of which, here are the final results for the last feature race in this championship. Jason coming across the line in 1st place there, with a time of 26 minutes and 24 seconds, 11.5 seconds ahead of his main championship rival in Rob there, with a great 2nd place, managing to make a great recovery drive and finish in 2nd place yet again. Hippie coming across the line, finishing in 3rd place, another great podium to solidify his great season he has had, and more than secure his third place in the Drivers' Championship as well with that result. Great result for Greasy there. Unfortunately, could not make that early stop pan out for him quite as well as he did, but a great recovery drive nonetheless, and moving up the field into 4th place there. Good result for Wrighton as well, managing to finish 5th place in the unfavourable Mustang around this track, so a great job for him to manage to finish in 5th place. Julian, another great result for him in these feature races, coming into a bit of his own in these last stages of the championship now in 6th place. Gad, unfortunately, with a little bit too many mistakes here today, as well as a few battles here and there with some of the other drivers, managing to finish in 7th place there. Nick, again, just making a couple of mistakes there, costing him a lot of time during this race, finishing in 8th. And Paul in 9th, with Rob taking the fastest lap of a 2-minute 08.2. And let us change the settings here for the final time. Scroll down to Suzuka. Scrolling back through the chat there. Gad not having a good time with the Jag there. Massive slides from Rob as well. And there we go. Cool. Good stuff there. A lot of GGs in the chats. As we rev up the Evos for one final time. Who will come out on top? We will have to wait and see. As you can see, the guys rushing around the tracks for one final time. Jason setting the early pace early on. Paul in the Iron Brew. Evo there. Nick in the Guinness themed. I've noticed as well, a lot of our liveries tend to be beverage based. How have I never noticed that before? Anyway. Hippie in the big green. Sorry, big green? What the hell am I on about? Big pink Evo here. Wrighton repping the tune once again, hopping on the Metro back home. Greasy in the orange Bullet. Gad actually in the big green Evo here. Julian sharing the same livery as Jason here. Send a message in to Rob just so I can set the grid. Probably having a smoke or something. Excellent. So for one final time, let's change this grid around. So we have Julian, boop, boop. There we go. Jason, Rob, Hippie, Crazy, Wrighton, Julian, Gard, Nick, and Paul. Cool. Start in a few minutes here. For the final time. Let's make this a good one, guys. Last race of the season. Let's make it a good one. As we watch the Iron Brew Giant setting his lap. Good time from Paul there, 2:08, equaling Rob's fastest lap during the race, so good stuff from him. Might find himself a lot at home in the Evo compared to the Mustang around Suzuka, but we'll have to wait and see. 3 minutes to go here until the final race, starting at 5 minutes to 9 here in the UK. So you watch some of the guys go around the tracks for the final time here. Good laps by Crazy and Hippie here. Two underdogs at this track so far. Oh, saying that as Hippie goes very wide coming at 130R. Jason setting the pace as well on one of his flying laps as well. Mistake free, I'm guessing, is that one with the 2:07, so great lap from him. Minute to go here until the final race. Been an excellent championship to watch, commentate and be a part of. And it all comes down to the final race here today at Suzuka in the good old faithful Evo 10. Should be a good last race. And with that, just check everybody's readied up. Jason readied up? He is. Let's get this thing underway for the final time. Good luck, guys. Good luck, have fun. Last race of the season. As we see there, the Iron Brood hopped up on Iron Brew there. Paul will be leading the field away. Nick in second place in the monster caffeinated Evo. Gad in third, Julian in fourth, Wrighton with the Newcastle Brown Ale 2-1. And here we go. A couple of the drivers not quite managing to make it through the chicane there. And they will be a bit behind coming down this start straight here. Coming down the start straight, Paul having good advantage there over the rest of the field. And it will be a clean coming into T1. Will there be any mistakes in this early first laps? Doesn't look like there is. All drivers clean coming around the first corners, heading into the S's for the first time. Still 15 minutes around Suzuka. Still more than enough time for any sort of action to happen at this track. So watch the rest of the drivers close up here. Rob looks to have made the early move here on Hippie. He's now right on the back, just under half a second separates them. Oh, it looks like Wrighton's in the wall this early stage. Wrighton maybe just going a bit too wide, heading in, just coming out of that corner there. Let's just have a quick look at his perspective. I just hit the curb on exit and just unfortunately, the disaster of the invisible walls there. Disaster for Wrighton here, and he will have a lot to try and gain back up on this race. Not where he would have wanted to start after his positive feature race earlier. Just the invisible wall claiming another victim there in Gran Turismo Sport. But who knows, other mistakes can happen. As now the rest of the field is promoted up by one place there. As you can see, Gad is now right on the back of Nick. Is Gad going to think of a look coming into the chicane? No, he isn't. Gad might have the run coming down the pit straight. Paul extending his lead to just over 1.5 seconds. Doesn't look like Gad will be close enough coming down the pit straight there. Even in Slipstream, the Evo does not gain too much time if it's racing itself, surprisingly. So the Slipstream not working too much of an advantage on that part. Nick just maintaining a position ahead of Gad here. Gad looking like he wants to get past really badly here though. A little bit of contact between the two. Nick just defending off his inside line there. Gad wanting to try and go around the outside, and he does. Gad just having a little bit more traction and grip there coming out the corner. Gad defending his inside there. And these two still nose to tail. Let's have a quick look back down in the field now. Rob looks to have jumped Hippie on the last lap. All these drivers still nose to tail as we just wait for this group to bunch up here. Looks like some of these guys, a lot of these guys even looking for the later lines. Looking for a good exit onto one of these back straights here. Let's have a look in front here as Nick looks to dive to the inside of Gad. Manages to make it stick. Gad looking for the undercut though. Ooh, so Nick goes a bit wide there coming out of the exit, and Gad manages to slot on through. Nick maybe just a bit late on the brakes there. And crucially, he might have just lost a little bit too much time to Gad unless he can make it up through the chicane. Good chicane here by both the drivers, but looks like Nick just gets a little bit too wide on the exit and unfortunately now finds himself outside of slipstream range as Rob now tries to make his way through the field. He's now past Creasy at this point as well, as now right on the back of Julian. Will he manage to make a move to the inside on T1? He thinks about making the move, but Julian covers him off well. Julian maybe just trying to defend a little bit more here against Rob, and trying to maybe let his teammates catch up as well. Ooh, so it looks like Gr actually goes a bit wide coming through there, just getting a little bit on the sand. Just manages to keep it together though, and has managed to pull out a second gap to Nick behind him as well, as Julian and Rob both are looking to catch Nick at this point as well. Just under half a second separates third and fourth place. Good job from Julian here to catch back up to Nick, and he now has a defence down the straight, so Rob will not have as much of an advantage coming down the straight, as Julian just goes a bit wide onto the sand, but just manages to keep it together. Great control there from Julian. Rob unfortunately does slip up the inside of him there, but manages to gather it up well. Maybe the slipstream from Nick in front just throwing off a little bit of that Evo, as it looks like Jason now manages to move up to the inside of Creasy and now takes that position away from him and just has his teammate in front, but Creasy's not giving that position up too lightly, as now he's in the slipstream. Julian giving his teammate slipstream coming down the back straight there, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. Creasy is inheriting in that position, coming in the next couple of corners there, but Jason dives down the inside. Will Creasy try and look for the cutback? No, Jason covers him off well there, and both of the teammates go on through in 5th and 6th place. Julian looks like he does yield to his teammate there and goes right on through, but unfortunately looks like he might have lost that place to Creasy now as well, as Hippie looks to try and take advantage of this as well. All these guys nose to tail coming through the next section here. Ooh, very close between both Creasy and Jason there, coming into the chicane. Who has the better line? Creasy looks to be very good on the brakes there and just takes the correct line there. Good work from Creasy there, but Jason comes right back at him, and this might be a good opportunity for Hippie to try and capitalise now as well, as he's now in the slipstream. Will he try and make a move? Coming into the first corner, it doesn't look like he's quite close enough yet. Jason moving to the inside of Creasy, and he just manages to make it stick now. Hippie now also moving ahead of Julian, just backs off coming into the S's and looking for a bit more of a run. All these drivers nose to tails. Hippie actually goes a bit wise going through one of the S's. That allows Julian to close that back up the gap to him, but not quite well enough, as Hippie recovers well, as straight on the back of Creasy here coming through the S's. Incredibly close racing coming up to the halfway mark here. Great stuff from all of these guys to be clean and maintain it around this tight and twisty track. Hippie just taking a bit too much curve there, just compromising his line to the guys in front of him there. And Rob now showing his dominance now, but Paul, look at that, a 4-second gap to the rest of the guys behind him, is really showing his stuff in the Evo here. And maybe if he had a different car in the feature race, he might have had a bit more of a chance there with the awful tyre wear of that Mustang. Gr currently sitting in 2nd place now, using all the track again just to try and keep the robot chameleon off his backside. But he's going to have to do a lot more than that, as Rob gets a lovely run coming down the back straight here, heading into the 3rd and final sector. Or 4th and final sector, I should say, sorry. Very close between these guys now. Ooh, Rob almost getting onto the AstroTurf there, as Jason now pulls past Nick, and Creasy might look to have a look on the inside of the chicane. Hippie now makes a dive to the inside as well, but just backs out of it at the last moment there, just trying to put the pressure on the guys in front, as well as Hippie wants to try and make up as much ground as possible in this one. Looks like Rob has managed to overtake Gr coming into the first corner as well, just getting that bit more slipstream now, and as Rob now moves up into 2nd place, which it looks like Nick is just under a lot of pressure here from both Creasy and Hippie here. Ooh, goes a bit wide out the corner. Both Creasy and Nick are in the sand. Disaster for both of these guys there, as it looks like Creasy actually ends up in the other sand trap as well. Disaster. Let's see if we can have a quick replay of that when it happens. So as you can see here, Creasy just gets a lot on the sand there, but both of them just not anticipating the corner correctly, and Creasy ends up going into the other wall as well. Disaster for both Nick and Creasy there, who were right on the back of all of these guys here, and now find himself in 8th place there. So unfortunately it looks like Wrighton has now left that race, as he could have actually maybe challenged these guys here at this point. After that mistake, he really could have challenged these guys here for some extra points, but Hippie now finds himself in 5th place, so a good result from here, just managing to keep calm and secure his position in 5th place and see if he can try and catch some of the other groups in front, as now the race settles down a bit more. Bit of a gap forming between all of these guys. The closest gaps are between Rob, Gad and Jason here, coming up to the 4.5 minute mark left in this race. Gad taking all the curb he can manage there to keep that gap. Jason just managing to close up the gap a little bit more now, in between the slipstream range and that 1 second gap. He's managing to make up a bit more time through these S's compared to the green Evo in front. But it looks like Hippie now has actually managed to make a great move as well. He's now right up to the back of Jason as well, so maybe Hippie can actually help out his teammate here by putting him under a bit of pressure now as well. So great job from Hippie to catch up to these two as well. So a podium battle is very much on the cards between all 3 of these guys, as Hippie now looks to be on a storm later in this race, and he has a couple of laps to prove his worth. Gad is using all the track yet again there. Just wants to maybe try and be a bit more careful coming down that section of the track, and he doesn't want to cause any more mistakes, as Jason is now right up to the back of him now. That slipstream really helping down both of these straights. He pulls up to the inside. Will either of these two drivers yield? Jason slides up the inside but gets a bit wide on exit. Gad tries to come back through. Both of them hard on the brakes now coming into the chicane. Gad just gets a bit too deep coming into the first part of the chicane there, and Jason slides on through, but he's not out of the woods yet. With maybe just under a lap to go. Might be able to salvage something here. Still nose to tail between both of these two. Purple sectors yet again for Jason. Just trying to shake Gad off of the slipstream range at the moment. He really wants to try and lose Gad of that slipstream coming into the final few corners there. And looks like he's managed to maintain a bit more speed coming through them last couple of corners. But has he managed to break the slipstream? He has just at the moment, but he's still got the hairpin to go. Nails the apex, but does he nail the exit? It looks like he does, and he just manages to stay just in front of Gad and crucially keep him out of slipstream range. But crucially it looks like Hippie now is moving on to the back of Gad, and Hippie is now in the slipstream range of Gad, so it could be a battle between these two teammates on the last lap as well. They've got a bit of a gap to play with, so let's see if they have a bit of fun here on this final lap. So it doesn't look like there's too many more battles going on. And he'll be very close to Gard in these last stages of the race. And will these two... Oh, as they actually just come across the line there, they don't quite manage to get one more lap in. Didn't even realise it was so close to the end there. And these two drivers coming across the line in tandem there. It's a really good job from all these drivers here, as it looks like the only two drivers left out on track is Paul and Rob here. Rob just managing to just maintain the gap there and actually bring it down to 1.8 seconds now. So he's still got everything to play for, but Paul is looking mighty solid at this point. So he's just managed to keep it a really consistent pace, and look at them times as well. Almost all the times in the 207s, but he has one time in the 206s as well, just off of Rob's fastest lap. So good stuff from him, but he doesn't want to make too many mistakes here, as he has gone a bit too wide at them corners and he has lost a bit of time to Rob now. Could he just be feeling the pressure here, or could it be the commentator's curse? Well, unfortunately for him, he has nothing else to look at here. And crucially, he actually goes wide because of the dirty tyres. Rob is in slipstream range now, coming down these last couple of back straights. And Rob is right in the slipstream range of Paul now. Let's go for a quick onboard shot. Coming down this back straight, you can see Rob just going up to the inside there. It's going to be incredibly close. Will these drivers give them any space here? Rob just taking as much room as possible. Rob cutting the nose off of Paul here. Will Paul try and come around the outside there? Rob covering him off here. Coming across there. Rob just a great line there coming out of the chicane. And Rob just manages to take him on the final lap there. Whoops, wrong button. Coming across the line there. Great stuff from both these drivers. Rob. Right. Well, that was a bit of a glitch. Well, Rob comes across the line first there, even though it says the game apparently is giving it to Paul. The game just recognising that Paul had a great race there, and it's given them the win for some reason. But no, that win will go to Rob there, despite what the idiotic game says. And of course, it wouldn't be a league in GT Sport if it didn't have the last race going wrong, would it? It really wouldn't be a GT Sport league without something going wrong in the literal very last race of the season. I know, that's what I don't understand. Well, I mean, Rob is going to be the official winner of that race, despite what the game says, because he's got like the most laps and the quickest time. So, whatever. Where did you finish in the end, Julian? Just if you don't mind us asking, and because I'm gonna put them in the points now and do a quick points total just before I end this stream here. Busted game indeed. But for the final time, let's run through the positions here. So, despite what the game says, great win for Rob, taking Paul on the last lap there, coming around the last few corners there. So Rob will take the victory, much to everybody's dismay. Paul getting a great second place there, just not managing to hold on enough to take his win there, but still a great second place there, despite the earlier feature race. Bit of a problem there in the feature race for him. Jason coming across the line, taking the last step on the podium this time around. And both Gad and Hippie coming across the line in tandem there. under half a second of each other coming across the line, finishing in 4th and 5th place respectively. Creasy and Nick, just a couple of mistakes there in that race, just warranted them a bit further down the grid, but I believe Julian finished in 6th place behind Hippie there after the game decided to absolutely bug out and not only disconnect one of our drivers while he was just waiting, but also completely mix up the grid order there. So it's a good 6th place for Julian there, nice and clean and consistent like he was in the feature race, and I believe that might be your best results of the season, Julian, so really good job to you. Creasy and Nick coming in 7th and 8th place, with Wrighton coming in 9th as well. So good job to all these guys here today. So, and just like that, everybody's already left. Well, I think on that note, I will quickly just tot up the points now, because I think with that, I think we know who the winners are at this point, but I'm just going to have a quick check. I'm going to do a quick live points total. Just bear with us one moment. See if I can try and get this in order. So let's have a quick flick back to the feature race. So yeah, so I had Hippie, then Crazy, then Gad, sorry, then Wrighton and Julian. Oh, bear with us 1 second, guys. Hi there guys, sorry about that. So, after that, just having a quick tot up of the points there while I was doing that. Thanks for all the love in the chat, guys. Julian, Paul, Jason, Rob, Gad, Rob, all you guys in the chat. So, with that, I'm just having a quick tot up of the points here at the end. And I believe that's the final one for that. Right, now the constructors. So you've got that's another good points total for Rob, but it's a massive points total for Julian and Assetto Cool as well. It's very close between those two. Really testing my mathematical abilities here. Right. So let's have a quick rundown of the Drivers' Championship here. So let's have a quick rundown of the entire championship here for everybody who has participated so far. So in total we've had 13 drivers of the individual championship participate in this season, so thank you to each and every one of you for participating as well. So let's run through the entire order from bottom to top. So in 13th place was Danny, who unfortunately only competed in, I believe it was only the one feature race in total in this, and Mikey only competed in the one weekend as well. They dropped out after round one, so they're in 13th and 12th place. Sean, who jumped in for a couple of these races as well, finishes in 11th place on 37 points. Then we have Paul, who's jumped in the last 3 weekends, who has finished on 108 points, so very good job to Paul. And I believe after that we have Rocket Man of Mike, who finished with 136 points. Paul just not doing, maybe one more weekend would have been able to catch Rocket Man at the end. And now it's very close between these next few guys, as we have Nick, who finishes in the drivers' standings on 150 points, and Julian and Creasy just both managing to pip him with having a great last weekend, as Julian had 30 points and Creasy had 33 points to finish with a great points total at the end, and just pipping them at the end. Julian finished on 161 points and Creasy finishing on 164 points in the end. So great job to them drivers there. Then we have a bit of a gap to Wrighton, who manages to finish in the top 5 in 5th place with a total of 223 points after not having the best weekend this time around, but still a good job from him. Gad, who finishes in 4th place on 265 points and a round total of 29 points, so good job from him again. And in a complete world of his own, Hippie finishing on a massive 351 points to take the bronze medal in the Drivers' Championship for 351 points. Then we have Rob, who just finishes in 2nd place on 422 points, and your Drivers' Championship winner is Jason, aka Jibril, with 438 points in the end. So great job to Jason there. A round of applause for Jason in the chat as well. Finished on a massive 438 points to take the Drivers' Championship today. So great job from him, and a great season from him. Very clean, very consistent from Jason this season, and thoroughly deserved here. And let's have a quick check of the constructors' points, and I'm just making sure I have added them all up. And I believe I have added all of them up correctly, have I? That's right. One second while I just fact check some stuff. Just making sure these constructors' points are right. That's not what I wanted. Get lost. That's what I wanted. No, I have not added them up. I thought I hadn't. Right, okay. Bear with me just one second. Just while I was adding them up there, because I swear I didn't add them up there, so that's fine. You have no idea how hard I'm trying to do math here. As quickly as possible. Right. Come on, you stupid thing. And I believe with that... And the last one... Cool. Yep, that is the final points total for the constructors. So, 6 teams participated in the constructors. So this is the final points total here. So, finishing in 6th place with a total of 224 points overall. It was a great job from Creasy at the end there. So a great job from him to finish, despite not having a teammate and also not doing any of the races here. Still a great total from him for 224 points in the end from him and finishing in 6th place. Nick and a team of off-track overtakers finishing on a total of 274 points there. So great job from him as well, despite not having a teammate this season. So good stuff from him as well. And this is the tasty part here. So in 4th place, well actually, I'll tee it up a little bit. So we have 2 teams now who are separated by 4 points in the end for these positions. So it's very, very close between a couple of these teams here. So in 4th place is Team Catastrophic with a total of 545 points, just missing out on a top 3 position in the constructors by a matter of 4 points to Julian Hazero Cool, who just clinches 3rd place in the constructors at the end with a total of 549 points. So a great job from them guys, despite having various teammates throughout the season as well. 2 really good drives by them 2 teams as well, and 4 points separating them guys at the end. 4 points in the constructors. So that sprint race really did make all the difference at the end there. So great job by them guys. Rob & Co finishing in 2nd place with a total of 579 points after a massive string of points here from the last 3 rounds has really caught him up to the leaders and everybody else around him. So that puts Rob & Co in 2nd place in the constructors. So great job to you, Rob, despite not having a teammate. And your winners of the Constructors' Championship for GRT Season 4 is the ones who are always high with a massive total of 612 points. Clean, consistent all the way through the season. A great job by both Gad and Hippie, who claimed the Constructors' Trophy for this season. So great job by them guys. I'm going to see if I can try and get the points sorted all tonight so they can get them up and official, both round 7 and 8 for you to have a look at. But those are your winners. So the top 3 in the Drivers' Championships are Hippie in 3rd place, Rob in 2nd place, Jason coming away with the Drivers' Championship, and the Constructors' Championship goes to Julian Has Zero Cool in 3rd place, Rob and Co in 2nd place, and the ones who are always high taking the Championship Constructors points. What a season. What a season. And just a few closing messages from me after that. Just want to say thank you all very much for tuning in this entire time. As I say, I know I haven't been as consistent with the points and stuff, but hopefully you will forgive me with my stupidly busy schedule that seems to have happened at the moment when I've been at work. But hopefully you can excuse that, and I will definitely be a lot more consistent with, especially when it comes to the points and different things like that, especially throughout the season, if I ever decide to do one of these again. And massive congratulations to all the winners and everybody that took part in this, and just thank you for watching, really. This is my first time actually hosting a league in general, as well as doing all the commentary and all the points and everything for it, and it has been really fun to watch you guys race week in, week out. So it has been genuinely great to spend this time with you guys on a Sunday night. And I think for the meantime anyway, there will be a couple of weeks break on a Sunday coming up, unless anybody decides to take over on a Sunday for the next couple of weeks. But the plan is in the future, I will try to host another weekly races slot on the Sunday night for anybody who wants to try and turn up. So hopefully we will have 2 weekly race slots, one on the Thursday hosted by Gad most weeks, and one on the Sunday hosted by me. Not too sure what the times and stuff are going to be like yet, but that is my thoughts going forward at least. So that is what I'm going to be planning. So hopefully you guys can get behind that, and hopefully we should have a laugh in some of them as well. So that's my plans going forward anyway, because I think especially with the league races, actually managing to get people involved in these league races is becoming more difficult, especially with everybody's ridiculously busy work schedules and different things like that. So I think it's a lot better in this stage of the game as well that we just start having more fun with it again. Just take it right back to what we used to do, and a lot of different things where we don't need to take it as seriously and just get introduced to a lot more people, get everybody else involved, and have that on the Sunday night as well as the Thursday for anybody who can't compete during the week. So that's the plan going forward for me, and hopefully we should have a lot more stuff coming up soon as well. As I say, we are starting to play a lot more diverse games at the moment, so FIFA being one of them. I think we're probably going to be getting back into a bit more Siege potentially in the future as well, and of course GRT Sport priority on the channel as well. We will have Hippies 1 makes back tomorrow, I think, from that, so no doubt we'll be looking forward to some more madness depending on what Hippie decides to put us all through tomorrow. I'm debating, because I'm actually going to be, with being off tomorrow, I'm going to be giving race A a challenge because it's at Goodwood this week. So I'm going to be seeing if I can try and platinum GRT Sport by racing in Group A and race A a lot, and see if I can get that down just to spam out as many of them races as possible. So I don't know if I might throw up a stream or something tomorrow, depending on how what the day goes by. So look forward to that. But if not, Catch 1 makes tomorrow as well. No doubt that'll be a good laugh as well, because it always is in 1 makes. Bit of chaos, bit of a laugh. So look forward to that. And of course, weekly races back on the Thursday as well this week. But for now, this has been Mashed Potato, commenting on the GR4 League, closing out Season 4 of the GR4 League. It's been a pleasure, everybody, and depending on what we do next, we shall see you, well, I shall see you in a couple of weeks, hopefully, for the new weekly race slot on the Sunday. But apart from that, it's ta-ra from me for now, and thanks very much, everybody, and catch you in the next one.